Most women never know the moment they touch a man's heart because men don't announce it. They don't post it. They don't say it out loud. And half the time, they don't even understand it themselves. But there are rare signs, subtle, quiet, almost invisible, that show you have slipped past his walls and into a place he never lets anyone near. And if you notice these signs, trust me, you've changed him in a way he'll never forget. When a man's heart is touched more deeply than he ever expected, the very first sign doesn't come from his words. It comes from his guard, dropping in moments so subtle you could miss them if you're not paying attention. Men are trained their entire lives to stay composed, to stay controlled, to stay unreadable. But when you walk into his life and affect him in a way he didn't prepare for, something shifts. His tone softens, his edges smooth out, and the part of him he keeps locked up suddenly starts peeking through without him even realizing it. You'll notice it in the way he looks at you when he thinks you're not looking. There's a softness there, a softness he doesn't show the world. A man's real heart doesn't show up in grand gestures. It shows up in his quietness. The way his voice drops when he talks to you. The way he leans in just a little more than he normally would. The way he lets silence happen around you without rushing to fill it. That's trust. That's comfort. And comfort doesn't come easy for men who've spent their whole lives building walls to protect themselves. He'll say something without thinking, something unfiltered, something honest, and the second it slips out, he'll catch himself. Not because he regrets it, but because he's not used to being this open. You'll hear him share parts of his past that he usually keeps closed off from everyone else. Maybe it's something painful. Maybe it's something embarrassing. Maybe it's something he's carried alone for a long and he doesn't sit down and decide, I'm going to open up today. It just happens. That's the power you have when you've touched a man's heart. You make him feel safe enough to let the real version of himself breathe. Most men live behind some version of armor. They wear confidence, humor, indifference, whatever helps them avoid vulnerability. But when he's around you, that armor starts slipping. He laughs differently. It's unguarded, genuine, almost boyish. He smiles with his eyes, not just his mouth. His whole body language loosens. Even the way he stands changes. Shoulders relaxed, hands unclenched, energy softer. He's not performing. He's not trying to impress. He's not trying to be the strong one. He's just being himself. And here's the thing. He might not even be aware that he's doing this. Men don't usually recognize when their guard is down because vulnerability is not something they measure. But you'll feel it. You'll feel the difference between the man he is with everyone else and the man he becomes with you. The version he shows the world is polished, confident, put together. The version he shows you is honest, human, real. Sometimes he'll even look a little confused by his own behavior. He'll share something personal and then get quiet, almost like he's wondering, why did I say that? But he won't pull back. He won't shut down. He won't try to undo it. And that's because the connection he feels with you is stronger than the fear that usually keeps him guarded. When a man lets his guard drop, even in the smallest way, it means you've reached a part of him he doesn't let many people touch. Not because he doesn't want to, but because he rarely feels safe enough to. With you, he feels that safety. With you, he feels seen. With you, he feels understood, maybe for the first time in a very long time. And when a man feels understood, he doesn't just let his guard down, he lets you in. That's the doorway to his heart. One of the rare signs that you've truly touched a man's heart is when he starts choosing peace with you over pride within himself. Most men grow up believing they have to win arguments, win debates, win control, win the moment. But when a man cares for you on a deeper level, something inside him shifts. He begins valuing the connection more than the victory. He starts realizing that protecting the relationship is far more important than protecting his ego. You'll notice it during the moments that usually trigger defensiveness. The moments where any other time, with any other person, he would shut down or fire back. But with you, he doesn't. Instead of raising his voice, he lowers it. Instead of interrupting, he listens. Instead of trying to prove a point, he tries to understand yours. That is not weakness. That is not surrender. That is respect wrapped in affection. It's a man quietly saying, you matter more than being right. And understand something. This is not natural for most men. Men are taught to compete, to push back, to hold firm. So when he chooses connection over conflict, it's because his heart is involved on a level he doesn't take lightly. He's not just reacting. he's caring. He's thinking about how his words affect you. He's aware of your feelings, even while managing his own. That kind of emotional restraint doesn't show up unless someone has made a real impact on him. You'll see it in the way he pauses before responding. That pause is everything. That pause means he's not speaking from impulse. He's speaking from intention. He's weighing your emotions, your perspective, your safety in the conversation. He's putting the relationship above the moment. That's emotional maturity, yes, but it's also emotional investment. He doesn't want to hurt you. He doesn't want to damage what you two are building. Peace becomes more valuable to him than proving he's right. When you've touched his heart deeply, arguments don't feel like battles to him anymore. They feel like opportunities to protect the bond, even when you're upset, even when you're frustrated. Even when you're both not on the same page, he's not walking away, he's not shutting down. He's staying engaged, even if it's uncomfortable. He's staying present, even if it's difficult. Presence during conflict is one of the greatest signs of love a man can show. And you'll feel the difference. You'll feel that he's not fighting against you. He's fighting with you for a solution. He'll start saying things like, let's figure this out, or I don't want to argue with you, or talk to me, I'm listening. Those aren't lines. Those aren't tactics. That's his heart speaking louder than his ego. It's also in the way he apologizes. Not the forced, defensive apology, but the genuine one. The one that comes with reflection, openness, and sincerity. A man who truly cares will circle back after the tension settles. He'll want to repair, reconnect, restore the peace between you. Not because he feels obligated, but because losing the emotional closeness between you feels worse to him than admitting he was wrong. This shift isn't loud. It's not dramatic, but it's powerful. It tells you that you've awakened a part of him that wants to protect you emotionally, not just physically. A part that wants harmony more than control. A part that values love over pride. And when a man reaches that place, you haven't just touched his mind or his mood, you've touched his heart. There's a moment in every man's emotional journey where he starts remembering things he usually forgets, not because he's suddenly more organized, not because he's trying to impress you, but because something about you stays with him long after the conversation ends. Men aren't wired to store emotional detail unless something hits them on a deeper level. But when you've touched his heart, the smallest things you say begin to matter to him in ways he doesn't fully understand. You'll mention your favorite snack once, casually, and he'll show up with it days later. You'll talk about a childhood memory you haven't thought about in years, and he'll bring it up gently in a moment where it fits perfectly. You'll tell him about the song you listen to when you're stressed, and he'll say it to you randomly with a simple line like, thought you might need this today. He doesn't do any of this to get points. He does it because your words made an imprint on him. Most men forget details because they're moving fast, thinking logically, problem-solving constantly. They hear, but they don't store. But when a man remembers your little details, it's because he didn't just hear you, he felt you. Something about what you said connected to a deeper part of him, a part that chooses to hold on to moments instead of letting them pass by. That's not typical. That's emotional significance. You'll notice it in the way he surprises you with his memory. You might say something once in passing, something like the type of tea you drink when you're overwhelmed, or the movie that always makes you feel grounded. And later, when life hits you hard, you'll find him offering you exactly those things without you having to repeat yourself. It's not guessing. It's intentional. He's paying attention because he cares, because you matter to him on a level that feels personal. And it's not just the positive things he remembers. He remembers your fears, your insecurities, the topics you avoid, the things that make your voice change even a little. He'll notice when something triggers you. He'll notice when you shut down a bit. He'll remember the stories you told that made your eyes dim or your shoulders sink. And he'll adjust how he speaks, how he reacts, how he supports you, not because he's walking on eggshells, but because he's carrying your emotional well-being in his mind without even being told to. When you've touched his heart deeply, your words don't become background noise. They become personal to him. They become reference points he uses to understand you better. He remembers what you love because he wants to bring more of it into your life. He remembers what hurts you because he never wants to be the reason you feel that way. He remembers the things you dream about because a part of him starts secretly rooting for those dreams to come true. And here's something most people don't realize. Remembering is one of the most intimate things a man can do. Any man can buy flowers. Any man can say nice things. But a man who remembers the details you didn't expect him to remember That is a man whose heart has been moved. It shows that he's not just listening to respond. He's listening to understand. He's listening because your voice carries weight in his life. That kind of remembering comes from a place of quiet affection, deep respect, and real emotional attachment. It's his heart making space for you without him even trying. And when a man starts remembering the details no one else pays attention to, it's because you've already become unforgettable to him. One of the clearest signs that you've touched a man's heart more deeply than you realize is when your presence affects him in ways he can't logically explain. Most men carry stress like a second skin. They move through life with tension in their shoulders, thoughts racing, pressure building, and emotions stored in places they never talk about. They're used to fighting their battles alone, used to keeping everything inside, used to taking care of themselves because they've learned not to expect anyone else to. But then you come along and something shifts. Not because you try to fix him, not because you do anything dramatic, but simply because of the way he feels when you're near him. You'll notice it in the way his breathing changes when he's with you. He doesn't sigh out of frustration. He exhales because his body relaxes without asking his permission. He'll sit next to you and lean back a little deeper than he normally would, as if his nervous system finally gets a break. His mind, which is usually loud and fast, slows down. His energy, which is usually guarded, becomes softer. You become the place where he feels like he can finally put everything down. This is not something men admit easily. They're trained to be strong, to be steady, to be the one who provides comfort, not the one who needs it. But when he's around you, he doesn't feel weak for relaxing. He feels safe. He feels understood in a way he didn't think was possible. You're not asking him questions he doesn't want to answer. You're not demanding emotional confessions. You're simply giving him a feeling of peace he rarely experiences anywhere else. And it's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's quiet, almost invisible. Maybe you're just talking to him about your day, and he sits a little closer. Maybe you're both in the car, and he drives a little slower. Maybe he lays next to you and his whole body settles, like it's the first real rest he's had in weeks. He's not performing. He's not trying to impress you. He's just letting his guard fall, because he senses that with you, he doesn't need one. When a man feels calm around you, it means you've reached past his surface level attraction and touched something internal, something emotional, something sacred. Men don't relax around people they don't trust. They don't soften around people they don't value. They don't let their guard down around someone who feels temporary. This level of comfort comes only when he feels something real, something that matters, something he doesn't want to lose. And you'll see it in the small things too. He'll vent to you more than he vents to others because with you he feels heard. He'll sit quietly beside you without feeling the need to fill the space, because he doesn't feel judged in silence. He'll share things he normally keeps to himself, not hidden secrets, just the little internal stress he usually carries alone, because he knows you won't make him feel weak for admitting them. In fact, being around you makes him feel stronger, more grounded, more centered. His peace becomes connected to you without him intentionally linking it. It's just how he feels when you're there. And that feeling becomes something he looks forward to, something he relies on, something he chooses. You become the person he wants near him when life feels heavy, when the world feels too loud, when his mind needs somewhere to rest. And when a man finds peace in you, that's the kind of connection he doesn't take lightly. Because peace is the rarest thing he looks for, and the hardest thing he lets himself feel. You become the calm he never knew he needed, but now can't imagine living without. There's this subtle shift that happens in a man when you've touched his heart more deeply than he intended. You'll hear it before you see it. It slips into his language, into his casual sentences, into the way he speaks without thinking. Most men live in the present moment, focused on what's in front of him, on what needs to be done right now. Future talk isn't natural for a man unless something or someone has carved their way into his long-term thinking. And when he starts weaving you into the future without even realizing it, that's not just affection, that's emotional attachment. You'll hear him say things like, we should try that place, or next time we go, or when we do this. He's not planning it. He's not trying to make a statement. He's not sitting there thinking, let me impress her by sounding committed. It just comes out of his mouth. Because you've become part of his internal world. He's no longer thinking in terms of me. He's starting to naturally shift into us. That's not small. That's not accidental. That is a man whose heart is aligning with yours without him consciously steering it. And the interesting part is, he might not even notice he's doing it. He'll invite you into things months away, an event he wants to attend, a movie coming out, a trip he's imagining, and he won't say yet. You're free. He'll say when we go. That's because he already sees you there. In his mind, you fit in. You fit into the experience, into the moment, into the memory, before it's even happened. You've become someone he wants beside him during life's big things and life's simple things. And men don't include people in their plans unless their heart has made a decision first. It also shows up in the little adjustments he makes. Maybe he starts saving recommendations for you. He sees a restaurant and thinks, she'd love that. He sees a place to visit and thinks we should go there. He brings up something he wants to learn or try, and suddenly it's something he wants to learn or try with you. He's not imagining a future alone anymore, even if he doesn't say the word future directly. His imagination is starting to make room for you because emotionally you've already taken up space. He may even start sharing things about his life plans, not in a heavy, serious way, but in a natural, conversational flow. His goals, his dreams, his next steps. And you'll notice he's not saying it like you're just another person listening. He's saying it like you're someone who's going to be around when those things happen. He opens the window into his long-term life because he sees you as someone who belongs there. And here's the part many people miss when a man includes you in his future unintentionally. It's the purest sign of emotional investment. Planned commitment can be forced. Spoken promises can be performative. But unconscious inclusion, that's real. That's genuine. That's the heart speaking before the mind catches up. He's not trying to lock you in. He's not trying to make you believe something he doesn't feel. He's simply letting his guard down enough for his true desires to come out, and those desires include you. Without pressure, without strategy, without manipulation, just truth showing through his language. And it's in those unplanned moments, those unconscious slips, those effortless sentences where you'll see the truth. When a man starts imagining you in his tomorrow, without even realizing he did, you've already become a part of his today in a way he can't undo. That's when you know you've touched his heart deeper than he ever expected. There's a moment with a man, and you may not notice it when it first happens, where his fear begins to shift. Every man carries a fear of vulnerability. It's wired into him from years of being told to stay strong, stay guarded, stay collected. Vulnerability to him has always felt like a risk, an exposure, a place where he could be misunderstood, judged, or hurt. But when you touch a man's heart in a way he didn't expect, that fear slowly starts losing its power. Not disappearing, just being outweighed by something greater, the fear of losing you. You'll notice it in the way he begins to open up, not all at once, not dramatically, but in small, real moments that reveal the parts of him he usually keeps locked away. Maybe he tells you about a mistake he made that still bothers him. Maybe he admits something about his past that still aches. Maybe he shares a worry he has about the future, or a weakness he's been hiding from everyone else. He thinks he's just talking, but what he's actually doing is trusting you with pieces of himself he's never given to anyone. This kind of openness doesn't come from comfort alone. It comes from investment, from care, from the quiet realization that losing you would hurt more than letting you see his truth. That's when you know you've reached a place in him that most people never get close to, because men don't open the deeper layers of who they are unless their heart feels safe. And safety, for them, is not built through words, it's built through consistency, presence, and emotional connection. And sometimes you'll see that vulnerability come out in ways that surprise you. He might share something and then get quiet, almost like he's checking your reaction. Not because he doubts you, but because he's not used to being seen. He might even look a little unsettled afterward. Not because he regrets opening up, but because it's unfamiliar territory. But he won't pull away. He won't take it back. He won't shut down. That alone tells you everything. His heart chose openness over protection. There will also be moments where you're upset, distant, or unsure. Instead of hiding behind silence or defensiveness, he leans toward you. He checks in. He asks if you're okay. He tries to understand what you're feeling. Not because he suddenly became perfect at handling emotions. Most men aren't. But because the thought of losing the connection between you hits him harder than the discomfort of being vulnerable. He wants to resolve the tension. He wants to fix the misunderstanding. He wants to make sure you still feel close to him. That's not habit. That's care rooted deep. And the biggest sign of all is when he starts talking about things he's afraid of. Not abstract fears, but personal ones. The fear of not being enough. The fear of failing. The fear of disappointing the people he loves.